So, hi, welcome back to Parenting Parachutes. Just quick little ideas to help you with parenting. I'm Geraldine Peterson. I'm a mental health therapist, but this isn't therapy. This is just ideas that have worked for me or that my clients have said worked for them that I'm here to share with you. And this is Anna.
Hello, I am a member here at Up&Up, and I am a parent who needs a parachutes sometimes. I've got two bonus kids and definitely working on building up my arsenal for working with teenagers.
War analogies.
Always a good start.
So, today our topic is problem solving when all the other strategies you know or have learned or you've tried and they're just not sticking. So this is a method of getting together with your kid by yourself or with whoever co-parents with you, getting together with your kid and kind of saying out loud, hey, this is an ongoing problem. We've tried A, B, C, D, E, F, G up to Z, and it's just not getting any better. So this is a method of kind of looking at that and trying to find other options.
Okay.
So it's I'm looking down. I always change numbers. It looks like it's 7 steps, but we'll see if I stick to the 7 steps.
All right.
So these are problems. The examples I've used are problems like getting your kid to brush their teeth before going to bed, or getting your kid to get off of a video game when it's time to come to dinner or do homework. Things that just over and over again, it's the same thing, or getting them to remember to turn in or to hand to you the paperwork from school, or reminding them that every time they borrow the car, they need to make sure they fill it up with gas. And it's just like, oh my goodness, we've talked about this so many times and it's just still not happening. So the I kind of want to pick a topic, so we'll just pick a situation. So we'll just pick like getting off of electronics when it's time to do something else. Okay.
Right. Okay.
So the first thing you do is you let each person, and that would be the child and the parent or parents, just kind of state their views without argument, without judgment, without interruption. So if I were the kid,
Hmm.
the parent would say, hey, let's sit down. You find a good time to talk when the issue isn't present. So not when you're arguing about it, but another time you say, hey, we argue about this 3 times a day. Let's sit down and talk about these arguments.
Okay.
And it doesn't really matter who goes first. I'd probably ask the child who they want to go first. But if I were the parent, I would say something like, hey, I'm concerned because so many times there's something that needs to be done in your electronics, and I ask you to get off and you ignore me. And then I end up getting upset. You end up getting upset. We both end up arguing. And again, the child's job is to just listen, not to say, oh, but, or that's not
Hmm.
true, but to just listen. Um, and then to give the child an opportunity to talk. And again, to just listen as the parent. So the child might say, I'd like to play electronics, and sometimes I'm in the middle of the game and you want me to do homework, but I'm just about to kill the monster, or, whatever. And it's frustrating for these reasons. And they may even say, and you just don't like me and you just don't understand. And your job is to just nod and say, okay, so you don't think I understand, and you don't think homework is important. You're just listening. That's
Hmm.
all there is to it. And that just kind of sets the stage that this isn't about who's right or wrong. This is about you guys have different viewpoints, and probably you'll find in some areas you have the same viewpoint. Like, it's hard to get interrupted when you're doing something fun, and neither one of you like this ongoing argument you're having.
Hmm.
So the first 2 steps are, one party talks, the other person just listens to make sure they understand, and then the other party talks, and first party's job is to just listen to make sure they understand. Then you literally name what the problem is. Is the problem that not enough homework is getting done? Is the problem that you don't like the arguments? Is the problem that you think your child is spending too much time on electronics? And those are all a little bit different.
Yeah.
So it may take a little time to like name what the actual problem is. But again, to kind of come to some consensus about the problem is something that you both actually agree that that's the problem. So the parent may say the problem is you don't listen to me, and the child may think the problem is you don't let me have fun.
Yeah.
So you try to combine that to something like we both think the problem is how to make sure you get to have fun but also do the things that you need to do in a way where we're not arguing.
Okay.
So, and then comes the fun part, and that's the brainstorming part. And most people have heard about brainstorming. It's just throwing out ideas, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent, with absolutely no judgment. And that's for a couple of reasons. One is it does open up creativity. So
Hmm.
it allows people to throw out problems that maybe are really stupid, but they don't feel that sense of, oh, if I say this out loud, someone's going to laugh at me or tell me it's stupid. And that does open up creativity. And sometimes that solution that isn't going to work may lead to a solution that might work. So it opens up that creativity, and it also way decreases the stress level. If we don't have that stress of thinking that we have to come up with the perfect solution, we just don't feel as stressed, and it makes it a more fun, enjoyable, unconflictual exercise.
Okay.
So what I suggest parents do with kids is to purposefully make the first 3 or 4 solutions purposefully ridiculous. So I just love this. And again, to open up creativity, but also to decrease stress. So if your child says, well, here's the solution. You just let me play electronics whenever I want. Okay, right? That laugh means you're decreasing stress. Your child knows that's not going to happen. But boy, that would be nice,
How
you
about
know?
we just burn all the homework?
Yes, yes. And I have so many, it's just amazing what kids come up with. I just want robot arms so I can keep playing my video game as I'm getting my pajamas on. How about that as a solution? Well, of course, that's a ridiculous solution, but it's fun, and it kind of gets both of the parent and the child into kind of a real helpful collaborative frame of mind.
Hmm.
And again, opening up that creativity, because maybe not robot arms, but maybe there's something similar, like maybe setting the pajamas beside the kid as they're playing a computer game, and through pauses they can quickly, put one arm through their pajama top, and that might work. I had
Yeah.
a solution was you just pay me $50 every time you want me to do that, which wasn't going to happen, but it did lead to a star chart, and you buy me a coffee every 5 times I do that.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
starting with that, I want a reward that's
Yeah.
totally unreasonable, led to, well, a reward isn't a bad idea. So I love that idea of just making the first couple just ridiculous. And you as a parent can say, how about every time I tell you to do something, you do it like you're my slave, which gets the kid to laugh, just like you
Right.
laughed. They know they're not going to do that, but it also
Cue the
helps,
drama scene.
right? But it also opens up that understanding that this is just as frustrating for the parent.
Yeah.
So, Anna, if I said to you, to get you to stop doing something fun, in order to do something that you know needs done, but that you really don't want to do.
Mhm.
Um, like a kid doesn't want to stop playing video games to get ready for bed. What would you what would you in your fantasies love to have happen?
Hmm.
Could I buy you a maid?
I was just gonna say, I want a robot maid like from the Jetsons. I want Rosie the robot maid who
Mm-hmm.
can just come and like pick me up and do the thing and then put me back down and I don't have to stop doing what I'm doing.
I totally forgot that from the Jetsons. That is what she did.
It
Yeah,
is.
I love it.
I was just watching that the other day.
I didn't even know. Is it old Jetsons?
Yep, the
Or
originals, the
okay, I was
classics.
going to say, do they even have? I have no idea.
Yep.
So, so coming up with ideas like that, again, it's so fun, and it gets the parent and child to think, "Hey, we're on the same team." And again, those crazy solutions like the robot arms or the pay me $50 or you be my slave can lead to other solutions. So,
Hmm.
talking about that, trying to kind of put both of us into the child mindset, like an 11-year-old child. What would we, what would help us as 11-year-old children? What would motivate us to stop playing a video game and get ready for bed?
Yeah.
So, um, can you think of, does anything fun pop into your head or reasonable pop into your head?
Nothing off the top of my mind. I'm trying to think between my stepkids and all the nieces and nephews. What usually ends up coming out is negotiation tactics of no, I can just go to bed later. Tomorrow's
Mhm.
not a school night, or blah 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 blah.
And I would write all those down. Those are important. Go to bed later, you know,
Yeah.
um, have, which isn't a horrible solution. If going to
Hmm.
bed 10 minutes later
Yeah.
or a half hour later, if that replaces arguing for a half hour and the kid going to bed that half hour later anyway, that
Hmm.
might be a good solution. Or if it's you stay up, again, this is where it may lead to other things. So if the kid says, just let me stay up a half hour later every night,
Hmm.
then you say, okay, how about this? You stay up a half hour every night. If at the end of that half hour, you do go to bed right away, then you earn the button that allows you to stay up that half hour later the next day. And if I have to tell you 2 times to go to bed, then you only get to stay up 15 minutes later. And if I have to tell you
Hmm.
3 times, then you go to bed at the regular time.
So still setting limits.
Yeah. Yeah. Which then may lead to how about if I let you pick one night a week where you stay up later on a school night?
Yeah.
Which, again, depending on your family, may not be a horrible solution and brings such a sense of um, empowerment and feeling special to the child. If they just pick one night out of five, staying up a half hour later probably isn't going to make a huge difference.
Right.
Or the difference it might make is they realize, wow, every time I pick Wednesday night to stay up later, Thursday morning, I'm really tired. It's not a bad lesson
Right.
to learn, or to say, how about on every night that isn't a school night, you get 45 minutes later. So again, this just generate all these ideas.
Yeah.
Or, okay, yeah, you can stay up later, but you can stay up 5 minutes later, which again isn't going to make that big a difference. Or you can stay up later if your bedtime is 8 o'clock. At 7 o'clock, you get your PJs on, brush your teeth, blah blah blah. And if all that is done before 8 o'clock, then you can stay up till 8:30,
Hmm.
so that you're staying up later after all your nighttime stuff is done.
Right.
And again, it's just like coming up with different creative solutions and just keep them firing like that. So
What I
after
like,
you go ahead.
sorry. What I like about this is it also builds community and relationship because you're both attacking the problem together. This is one of our better interactions that we had. We'd just gone and picked up the kids and we were driving back home. and this wasn't about discipline at all, but it's a similar situation where we talked about cars and the environment and how, and we were debating gas cars versus electric cars versus blah 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 blah. And somehow we got onto the point about how the cleanest form of any kind of energy is actually water, hydrogen cars,
Mhm.
and that there actually were blueprints for it and everything else. And so then
Mm,
it ended up into being this big, the whole family sharing about different ideas about how to make that practicable
mhm,
in every day. And how could we even switch to having cars that ran off of water, which
mhm,
turns to vapor and then turns back to water again? And like,
mhm,
how do we make this work? And it was one of a really healthy interaction that I think everybody felt heard and felt like a participant. And I saw that come out of that, so I can see where applying that to this particular teaching of discipline,
mhm,
I can see where it's definitely helpful.
mhm. Yeah, I that's actually a truly interesting concept, and already my brain is going like, "Okay, water wheels in cars. Wait, that's
Right?
not real practical." But if you start with that,
Yeah.
then that is how gears work,
Yep.
like, so somehow getting a force of water to turn a gear, which is how gas works. You're
Yeah.
just turning gears that turn the wheels
Right.
eventually, that's so you're just burning things that spark something that yeah, so that's super interesting,
It
and
was a
that's how
really
things
cool conversation. And like I say, I just felt everybody felt edified from it. And so, yeah.
yeah, yeah, and if you can do that, taking that ego thing or that you and I are fighting against each other to the you and I are inventing something together,
Hmm.
you know? You're, just talking about the, driving in a car reminds me of another kind of ongoing issue of kids in the back of the car either acting out or saying they're thirsty or they have to go to the bathroom, and you're
Hmm.
driving and you need to pay attention to the road
Yeah.
and they have needs. So to problem solve that, I had one person come up with a solution of in the back of the car, they're thirsty, and I can't remember who said it, but well, how about if we install a water fountain in the back of the car? You know, which went to well, everybody knows you're not going to install a water fountain, but what if we carry water bottles in the car? Well,
Hmm.
what if the child is responsible for putting the water bottles in the car? What if the parent is responsible for water bottles in the car?
Hmm.
And I'll tell you too, the other kind of um, uh, uh, benefit of doing this is it creates just a pleasant conversation,
Yeah.
and even if you don't come up with a solution, you've had a wonderful interaction with your child, like you did about
Yeah.
water water fueled cars.
Yeah.
You know. Okay, so after you come up with 20, 30, 40, as many solutions as you can come up with until people start getting bored with it. With the child, and I'd ask the child to do it first, is to cross out all the ridiculous solutions. And
Hmm.
what you'll find is that you don't really have to argue too many of these. Your kids really know that you're not going to pay them $50 to brush their teeth, and they know that robot arms aren't a thing.
Right.
And they know that you're not going to burn all the homework. They already
Right.
know that. So you cross off all the ones that just are ridiculous. You circle two or three of the ones that you both really like.
Okay.
And usually you can find at least one, if not three, that you like. And then the other ones you kind of assess, is this something we want to set aside for later, think about, incorporate? And you might find that some of the things you circle are have things in common, like stars for a coffee every 5 times I brush my teeth, or stars for a movie every 5 times I brush my teeth, or stars for staying up a half hour later every 5 times I brush my teeth. Well, then you realize, oh, so the pattern is a reward would help you.
Hmm.
So you might find patterns like that, or you might find that you can combine two things as you kind of discuss what do we like about these two or three solutions. And I wouldn't
Yeah.
pick more than three, even if a lot of them are good, because the next step is to actually put those solutions into place And the last step is to assess those after about a week or a
Hmm.
month, depending on what the situation is.
Yeah.
So it's not like these are the solutions and now we're done.
Right.
It's a realization that this is an ongoing conversation.
We're
So,
applying the scientific method.
yes, yes. I love that playing.
Hypothesize, test,
Yeah,
evaluate.
exactly. So if um, giving a child a star for every 5 times they brush their teeth, and boy, you guys never argue about brushing teeth again, then you come back and you say, wow, we're doing really well. And if a month later it slips, you go like, okay, let's go back to that list, or
Hmm.
let's generate a new list because this isn't working anymore for whatever reason.
Yeah.
As an aside, I will say a lot of parents have problems, or it's a sticking point to them that they don't want to reward their child for doing something that they should be doing anyway.
Mm.
And I have a couple of points about that is that those same parents tend to not have a problem with punishing the child to not do something. We all tend to grow out of that, but we all start with that. We all
Mm.
start with new behaviors becoming embedded because we get some sort of a reward, whether it's, parents clapping for a toddler for, going in the potty.
Right.
I don't know of an adult who still needs their parents to clap for them when they go potty, so that develops that habit. Once that habit is developed, we can usually take that reward away.
Hmm.
And quite honestly, if we don't take that reward away, but it just changes as people get older and want different rewards, that's fine because most of us go to work every day or clean our bathrooms or do things because of kind of we internalize, we give ourselves our own rewards, or we get a
Hmm.
salary, or we get paid, or we get to walk into the bathroom and smile because it's so clean. We keep that reward, and I don't think there's anything um, detrimental about that. I think that's a great way to keep doing helpful and good things.
To
So yeah,
reinforce. Yeah.
yeah. So the last step is just to come back again a week later or a month later, whatever makes sense, depending on the situation, and say, hey, how do you think this is working? And again, letting the child speak while you just listen non-judgmentally, letting you speak while the child just listens non-judgmentally, and then seeing if you need to do a different list or to fine tune the solution.